Hello, and welcome to the Ash Christine Designs YouTube channel, where I host my knitting podcast as well as some vlogs and some other fun videos from time to time. Thank you so much for checking out episode 19 of the Ash Christine Designs podcast. If you are a first-time viewer, thank you so much for checking out the podcast and the channel in general. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. Today is Saturday, September 2nd, my usual podcast recording day, but I am recording a few hours later than I normally would, so if the lighting is a little bit different, that might be why. I also wanted to quickly mention that my filming location has not changed, but I have hung some decor over there. You might be able to see it a little bit in the shot. There is a shelf above it. It's got some cute stuff on it. But yeah, just wanted to mention that in case you can kind of see the decor in the background. Links to everywhere that you can find me online will be in the description box below this video, as well as links to anything that I talk about in this episode, including project pages and or pattern pages if need be. So if you have a question or if you wanted to check something out, make sure that you check the description box, because more likely than not, there will be a link to whatever it is you are curious about. Just wanted to quickly mention that. And speaking of links, I wanted to talk about my newest pattern that went live. I'll pop some pictures somewhere on the screen at this point. The Seashore Socks pattern went live last week, I believe. And it's this fun summer sock. It's kind of like my farewell to summer now that it's September. But it's this fun lace ankle sock that's just super quick to knit, and it's a great staple to have in your wardrobe throughout summer. And it's also a great staple to have in your wardrobe for anyone that lives anywhere like I do, where it stays warm throughout basically September and October. But yeah, that pattern went live last week. So I will leave links to where you can find that either on Ravelry or Etsy, so you can check it out and see if it's something that you're interested in knitting up. And I did want to say a big thank you to everyone that shared the post on Instagram, to all of you that already grabbed your copy of the pattern. Thank you so much. It's so fun that I get to create these things just floating around in my head, and then other people find them interesting enough to make. So yeah, I wanted to quickly mention that, and say thanks to everyone that's checked it out already and shared it on Instagram and everything. Yeah, you guys are all the best. Okay, that is all of the admin stuff out of the way, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into my finished objects. I have 3 finished objects, and this is actually the one I finished second, like according to the dates, but it's the only one like it, so I'm gonna go ahead and show this one all by itself, and that is my spiderweb bunting. There's no way I'm gonna be able to show this on camera and have it look good. Right now it just looks like knotted yarn altogether. This is the side that I blocked, so I'll go ahead and show you this one again, and they're all gonna look like that eventually once I block them, but right now they kind of look like this. But yeah, I finished my spiderweb bunting, which means that I can now hang it on the wall after I block it. I waited to block it because I did want to show it on the podcast first. Next podcast, I'll have a picture of it actually hung up on the wall so you can see it in its full glory instead of me holding it like this. Okay, last time that I'm going to show this, other than the pictures I'm going to include next week. So I'm going to give you all the details once more. This is a pattern by Janalia Mathalgon. I'm never going to figure out how to pronounce that. It's called the Spiderweb Bunting. And the yarn I used for this was Knit Pick Stroll in the black colorway. I used about maybe 20-ish grams for this whole thing. It really doesn't take that much yarn. Like I said, I think about 20 grams total. But I did want to mention, I did change the pattern. I can't remember if I talked about it in last podcast, but I basically what I did was I increased twice the amount that it calls for in the pattern. So every row that was called for in the pattern, I did the first however many it was, and then I just kept increasing. This is a paid for pattern. The designer does have a free video tutorial on her YouTube channel, which I will link in the description box below, along with the pattern page for this, or project page rather. But yeah, I did want to mention that I did make this basically doubled, because I didn't really use the yarn that she called for in the pattern. She called for it to be slightly thicker, and I wanted it to be thinner. So I did want to quickly mention that, because I can't remember if I mentioned it last episode, but I did basically double the whole thing. And then the hook that I used for this, because this is a crochet project, was a US 2.5 millimeter, which I believe is a C hook. If I'm wrong, it'll be on the pattern page. I mean, project page most likely. And I started this project July 21st and I finished it August 23rd. So like a month. And most of that was me sitting there staring at it, not actually crocheting on it. I crocheted the first one in a night and then I put it down for almost a month. And when I picked it back up again, I crocheted both of the second two back to back. So like this was probably in total maybe an hour, hour and a half worth of work. Definitely could have had it done in a single day, but I decided to procrastinate instead because who doesn't, am I right? I think that this is the best shot I'm gonna get as far as like showing you the whole thing. There's no way to show the whole thing right now. Yes, so that's that finished object. I have two more. And if you remember me talking last episode, you might have seen this coming, but they're both pumpkins. So this is the one that I showed on last episode. This is my standard stockinette pumpkin. This is for my upcoming pattern, Oh My Gourd, which is coming out October 1st. If you are a long-time viewer or you caught last podcast, you may remember me talking about this. About 3 years ago, I had a worsted weight pumpkin pattern release, and since then I've had people ask if I will create a fingering weight version and write out all those stitch counts and decreases and everything, and I decided to finally do it. So this is the stockinette version, and I'm gonna have some different texture patterns throughout this pattern. So in the original worsted weight, I just have a cabled version. I have two different cable stitches, two different cable versions in the pattern across two different sizes. And I'm going to be doing different sizes in the fingering weight, but I'm also going to be doing different stitch patterns, including this one, which is ribbed. But anyways, back to details about this one. So this is the one that I showed you guys last podcast. I was in the middle of this. I believe I was like still knitting the body of this pumpkin. But the yarn I used for this is Knit Pick Stroll in the pumpkin colorway. The needles I used are US 2.75 millimeter, and I started this pumpkin August 15th and I finished it August 20th. They really do not take that much time at all. Moving right into my next finished object, my ribbed pumpkin. This is going to be another version for the Oh My Gourd pattern coming out October 1st. This is Knit Pick Stroll mini pack in the strawberry colorway. So this took less than 20 grams of yarn, which is great. That's why I love fingering weight pumpkins, is because they really don't take that much yarn. And this is the small size. And as you can see, I mean, it's a decent sized pumpkin. It's nothing to sneeze at. Same needle size, US 2.75 millimeter, and I started this pumpkin August 21st, 2023, and I finished it August 26th. Obviously, still 2023. I don't know why I gave the year. I never give the year. I don't know why. Those are all my finished objects, so that takes me right into my works in progress, and surprise, surprise, the first one I'm going to talk about is another pumpkin. This is another sample for the Oh My Gourd pattern coming out October 1st. This is the slip stitch version. It's gonna look much better once I actually get it stuffed and everything. I'm ready for the decreases at this point. I've finished the body of the pumpkin. This was part of the Knit Pick Stroll mini pack that I was sent to knit up a pair of socks to be on Knit Pick's website this October. I'm really glad that I went with the Knit Pick Stroll. I feel like this yarn just gives all the stitch patterns so much, texture's not the right word, but it's just like, it shows up really well. I'm blanking on the term right now, but stitch definition, there we go. This yarn is giving great stitch definition to these stitch patterns I've worked up so far. This is using the same needle size as the other two. It's US 2.75 millimeter. And I should be done with this one in just a few days. Maybe tonight I might actually finish this one, and I'll go ahead and get started on the, I think the last stitch pattern. I think I'm going to go with 4 stitch patterns for the fingering weight version. And of course that'll be across 2 sizes, so you'll be able to knit the small version with any of the 4 stitch patterns, and then you'll be able to knit the large version in any of the 4 stitch patterns included. My next work in progress is another crochet project, and this is my bat garland, I think is what I'm going to call it. Look at these cute little bats. I'm dying. Look at how cute they are. Every time I see them, I pull them out of the bag. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot how cute they are. They're so cute. And I have 2 of them so far. I think I'm gonna go for 5 bats in total, because of where I'm gonna hang them. It's gonna be like this little garland and everything. So I'm thinking that 5 is gonna be the right thing, because they're gonna hang at different heights. Yeah, so I think 5 is the number I'm gonna shoot for. I have not started the actual garland portion yet. I'm thinking it's gonna be a mix of chain stitches and slip stitches in order to achieve this really nice effect that I'm gonna go for. But yeah, so right now I just have the 2 bats. I've not actually started any of the actual garland portion. This is a pattern by Lisa Farrell, and it's actually for like a I think they're called mask mates. They're the little things that you could wear on the back of your head that had little buttons on them, so that you could put a mask on and have it behind your head instead of having the straps behind your ears. I believe that's what this pattern actually is. I don't remember. I just found a bat shape and was like, let's go for it. But yeah, this pattern is by Lisa Farrell. The yarn I'm using is Knitpick Stroll in the black colorway, and I'm hoping I have enough. I have like this much left, which, I mean, now that I'm looking at it, it does seem like I'll probably have enough. But you know me, ever the paranoid. I have started bat number 3. This pattern's not hard. It's just a lot to focus on, and I'm a knitter first, crocheter second. So sometimes trying to understand what it is I'm doing and remember what it is I'm doing takes a little bit more brain power. So that's that project. I'm hoping to have that finished hopefully within the next couple of days, because I do want to hang it up. I do want to block each of the bats before I actually start the garland portion, so that I know like that they're gonna look good and they're gonna lay flat and everything. And anyway, oh, and the hook size I'm using for that is the same as what I used for the spiderweb bunting. It's the US 2.5, which I believe is a C hook. I think that's right. My next work in progress is one you will have definitely seen at this point if you watched last episode or the episode before that, and that is the Sweet Girl shirts, which is this fun baby sweater or baby shirt. I'm gonna turn it the right way around. There we go. It's a nice, cute little collar, and it's gonna have some little buttons to actually like put that part closed if the parent wants it that way. I'm almost finished with the body. My stitch marker here, which is this fun little butterbeer right there. That's where I was the last time I recorded, and I've knit all the way up to where I'm at now. I don't know how well it's gonna show on camera, but I had a little bit of trickery. I think you can kind of see it. I had a little bit of trickery when I was changing to the new ball of yarn, because everything I knit from this point before was knit with an old ball of yarn, like what I'd had in my stash for years. And when I put in the new one, it does create kind of a line. It was really severe when I first switched colors, but I kind of did some finagling where I went back and forth 1 row at a time between the 2 skeins, and I think it sort of helped. I feel like once you get past that first line, it's a little less obvious, but maybe I'm just kidding myself. But yeah, so I'm almost done with this. I've got like, I want to say another 2.5 inches, if even that, before we finished with the stockinette portion of the body. And then it's going to have a fun little band at the bottom, and then all I got to do is pick up the stitches for the sleeves. But the sleeves are going to be like puffy sleeves, so they're not actually going to take me that long. I think it's pretty much just picking them up and knitting the final band around them. I don't think there's even really any stockinette portion to the sleeves left. But anyway, that's that project, and the details about that. The yarn I'm using is Lion Brand Kobu in the mauve colorway. I do actually have a skein to show you. This is what it looks like. It's a fun pinky kind of color, and the needle size I'm using for that is US 4 3.5 millimeter, and then for the collar I used a size down, so it's US 3 I I think 3.25 millimeter. My final work in progress is my Wednesday vest, and I wanted to be able to show you that I'd seamed together the back panel, all 4 columns together, but I didn't end up doing that. I have one more panel to sew together and the back is complete. And this is all I did on the front of it. So last episode I said that I was on the first square of column 1 on the front panel, which, if that's confusing, don't worry about it, I confuse myself on the daily. But yeah, last episode I said I was on the first square of column 1 of the front panel, and I was wrong. I was actually on square 1 of the second column of the front panel. I found, after I finished recording, I found that I had actually knit the first column entirely and completely forgotten about it. I don't know how I would have forgotten about that. I must have been like busy. But yeah, I have the first one completed, and so I'm actually working on the second column for the front panel. And yeah, I finished square 1 and then put it down and didn't pick it up again. I do want to get back to this, but my focus right now is finishing the back garland, finishing the Sweet Girl shirt, and finishing the samples for the Oh My Gourd pattern that's coming out October 1st. I do have one more sample that I may be knitting throughout September, in which case the Wednesday vest will get pushed out just a little bit. But hopefully I have high hopes that it's not going to take me that long. None of the samples that I'm knitting, I have high hopes that the pumpkins are going to keep rolling and I can finish everything relatively soon and get back to the Wednesday vest, as well as some other works in progress that I would love to be working on right now. The yarn I'm using for the Wednesday vest is Caron Simply Soft in the white and black colorways. And then the needles I'm using are US 7 or 4.5 millimeters. But yes, I would love to finish the samples for the Oh My Gourd pattern coming out October 1st, as well as finish the back garland, because I can't wait to have it on my wall. It's gonna look so good. Yeah, so those 2 are my priority right now, with the Sweet Girl shirt coming up very close third, because I really want to get that one finished and get it sent to the person I'm sending it to. So yeah, it looks like the sun has now shifted a little bit. It feels like I'm a little bit brighter than I was maybe at the start of the episode. But yeah, that is pretty much it. That is all I have made progress on. I pulled out my pinwheel scrap blanket a while ago, and I knit maybe a wedge or 2 on one of the squares, but I've not made leaps and bounds really on any other project other than the ones that I showed today. So that's it. That's all I really wanted to talk about. I thought I had some like chat notes or something to make, but I can't remember if I did. And if I did have any, I didn't write them down. I do have show notes. I do try to keep this like as streamlined and organized as possible so I don't forget to say too much stuff. But yeah, I think that I don't really have anything to talk about in the chat section because I'm just focused on knitting all the things, crocheting all the things, and working my way through my works in progress. Alright, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this episode. Thank you so much for watching episode 19 of the Ash Christine Designs podcast. I appreciate you so much. Next time I see you, I'm hoping to have my spiderweb bunting blocked and on the wall so I can take some photos for you guys. I'm also hoping to have my back garland finished, and then as a stretch goal, I would love to have the Sweet Girl shirt done as well. That one does take a little bit more time, so we'll see if I manage to complete that one. If you have any knitting or crochet goals by a certain date, leave them in the comments below. I would love to comment back and cheer you on. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys all next episode. Bye!